Welcome to Center Hice Productions. Breaking news. First, hit the likes and subscribes. Let's get 100 views minimum. Let's try to up it even more. We need some following to start it pumping up here. Okay. So breaking news: Habs make a massive blockbuster trade today, unloading the first round draft pick from Florida at 31, and unloading, which is surprising, the 37th pick in the second round. Also unloading Fairbrother, which I could see because he's injury prone, and we got so much depth on defense that they got to start unloading some of the bodies that would never crack the Habs with the situation as it is now. And we get Alex Newhook from Colorado for all of that. Now, that sounds great, and I do like Alex Newhook. I hate his size. He's small. I think we paid too much. That's my opinion. I noticed all the podcasts were just checking in on them, and everybody's so pumped. Yes, he is a good hockey player. But trust me, I love to see a Maritimer do well. Alex Newhook, he's from Newfoundland. So, it's nice to see it. And he is a good hockey player. I got no problem with that. I have a problem with the size they went to and how many centers. What are they thinking? So this makes me think, or does it not, you put the question mark up. Is there a second part to this deal? Especially to have unloaded the first rounder at the bottom, their extra, and 37th, because I thought they would have utilized that to get their goaltender. And kind of shocked. It looked to me, I'm sorry, Alex Newhook's a great player. He, to me, looks more like a third liner center with the way Montreal is situated right now with Suzuki, Doc, Doc, and will be Newhook. However, this is starting to send an indication. I don't know if you see it. I'm kind of thinking we may be seeing Dvorak and Jake Evans out of there. Now, Jake Evans is hanging by a thread anyway, and he's not quite himself. I love him, but he's not himself. He hasn't been himself since the Shifley hit. One too many concussions, so I think he's working himself down to Laval or traded. Dvorak, we know his name has been in the news quite a bit. And now that they've got so many centers, you got to think they probably are unloading Dvorak. There's got to be a part two to this. Like I say, I'm glad it's not the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade because this kid has actually got some heart. And I like him. He's just too small. That's my only question mark with it. Unless they're thinking something else, I think they paid too high of a price. I don't think he was worth that amount. I almost feel, and I'm sorry, this is going to be the one podcast that disagrees on this trade. From what I've seen, everybody's good old Alex, he's with us, and yes, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Newhook's a good kid, and he's got a Stanley Cup under his belt. Thankfully, being along for the ride for the Colorado Avalanche. But remember, he couldn't handle what was going on there at the second line in Colorado. So he's a good hockey player, but he's got a ways to go. And I'll be honest, I think he's a third line center. So I'm not quite sure what the Habs are thinking. One problem I'm starting to really feel, and I don't like it. I hope to hell, and I love Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon, but I hope to hell because I'm starting to see a trend here. Have you noticed? Are we going to have Team USA being the Montreal Canadiens? All these kids seem to be guys that Kent has been associated with in the American system, coaching wise. So I'm getting a little concerned. Is this going to be the trend? He's just going to jump for every American kid. Well, you're making a mistake because you're going to oversight some players. And my God help me if you oversight Mitchkov, there's a problem. Okay, we got to watch what we're doing here. It's the same thing. I love some of these American players. Don't get me wrong, but you really you got to start thinking that we're getting a little hefty, and we really need a superstar. And you're going to need to insulate these guys. I'm wondering myself, is Winnipeg looking for more? I got a bad feeling. I'll be happier if we go elsewhere or something else happens because I'm getting a suspicion that this is meant to go towards the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. And I just got a bad vibe about it. I think they're actually trying to appease that community. This is what I'm going to say. My foresight. I think that's what they're doing. Everybody's thinking, oh, they're done. They're not going to go for him. I think you're wrong. I think this has got to be a two-part series because they don't want to go small. So if Winnipeg had their eyes in Colorado for Newhook, kind of makes sense, don't it? Maybe they're going to throw a package together. And I am getting worried because the price is going to be steep. Because I would have thought those two drafts. I just think it's too high of a price. I don't think I honestly don't think the first should have been a part of the package. I'm sorry. I don't see him to that valuability. I hate to say it, unless there is a part two to this trade. I think Kent got fleeced. I think Joe Sakic fleeced him. We're still debating, right now, that Lehkonen trade for Barron is still looking like, Colorado looks so far like they won that trade. I think Sakic is fleecing Kent right now. Unless Kent has got something else in mind, and I do believe he does. And unfortunately, I'm petrified that it's Pierre-Luc Dubois. I got a feeling that maybe Newhook is a part of a package. This is what scares me. What is that package? However, I would be content if he stays and they got something else up their sleeve because he would make a good third line center. However, they got too many centers. And I do, at the worst case scenario, see that, in my opinion, Jake Evans is going to end up losing his position. These kids have to come up as well. So I think they got enough centers right now that Jake's the odd man out. And you know that Dvorak's name has been coming up left, right, and center. So I think these two could be the two centers moving onward. So this is just my philosophy and my thinking pad. I know it's going to be totally, totally, totally different than every podcast I've seen so far. It's like, oh, Alex Newhook. Yes, he's part of a winning team. But look at where he sits. He's a third liner. And you gave up a first round draft pick. You gave up a second round draft pick. There goes our goaltender. There goes our chance for Quentin Musty. I hope you got something up your sleeve, Kent. You sure as hell better. I mean, I do like this kid. I'd rather us be going for this kid. At least he's got heart compared to Pierre-Luc Dubois. But I'm petrified that there's a part two to this, and it's going to happen on the draft floor tomorrow. That's just my theory. And maybe if it's not tomorrow, it'll be opening day for free agency. So let's pray to God that that's not the case. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I know you're all on the bandwagon, a lot of you, that, oh, this is so great. And I am proud that he's a Maritimer. Don't get me wrong. We already got Cole Caulfield, small. And if we get Michkov, he's going to be on the small side. And they're both worth having, those two. Michkov's going to bring superstardom, generational, to you. Caulfield has got a nice scoring touch. We know that. So those two players are worth it. We don't need any more midgets, right? This is enough. This is where Newhook doesn't fit in that regard. We can't get an abundance of small guys. So I'm thinking Kent Hughes has got something up his sleeve because these guys are usually too smart. Like I said, although I'm saying this is the one area, it's still not finished where Barron sets up. But so far, Colorado has won that first trade, and we seem to got a connection there. And Sakic must be just licking his chops with Montreal because he's fleecing Kent. Unless Barron turns into something, that first trade we've got beaten on. So, and I do know there's people and he's got potential. He's just got to get a lot tougher because he right now is the guy that loses in Montreal if there's a defenseman that should be moved down or be an extra. Let's hope there is his potential. Let's hope it moves up because Lehkonen looks like he was a steal for Colorado. However, I just think we paid too much. I think a second rounder and Fairbrother would have been just fine. Maybe a second asset that you could have unloaded, like a Sean Farrell. Maybe that. But a first rounder, I'm not with it. Not both of them, first round and second. They overpaid for that. So I just assume you tell me what you think. Leave your comments. I think there's a second part to this. It has to be. And I'm sorry, guys. The rest of you that are on your podcast is going, yeah. And don't think that the Pierre-Luc Dubois thing is over. I hope it is. But I got a bad feeling this is to appease that trade because that's probably what Winnipeg wanted in a package, one piece. So let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts. I had no intention of making a video today, but we know we're in that time where anything can pop up. I had to, and I could have done it, way a couple hours ago when this broke initially and nobody had anything out, but I wanted to look into it further. And I didn't like it from the moment I heard it. So that's my stand. Your opinion is valued as well. We're all going to have difference, although I will say I'd rather this kid than Pierre-Luc Dubois. Anyway, from Center Edge Productions, we thank you. Let your friends and family know. Hit the likes and the subscribes. And we will catch you on another one because I got a feeling I was going to run a draft show, but I can't at the moment. Like I say, I still got a lot to learn about doing live, so I'm not quite there yet. And we will see. I will probably end up making a video as the draft goes, or a video or two, just to update things. What our theories are on what Montreal does. But so far, I hope Montreal's not sending because I got a feeling they're going for Leonard as another piece or that Rombacher. And I sure hope it's not Ron Bracker or whatever you call him from America, the defenseman. I'd be devastated on this. We're getting a little too American, too tied to the American system. And that's one thing that they look all good in college. But you're playing NHLers. You try to convert that to NHL. Yes, Harris looked great, but he looks pretty damn. He's a responsible defenseman, but he looks pretty average here in the NHL now, doesn't he? All right. Just tell me your thoughts. Leave the likes and subscribes. And where does the puck drop first? At Center Hice. Thanks, Hice Maniacs. We'll see you next episode.